Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very successful entrepreneur, a former Miss Asia Universe, Sonal Singh. Sonal, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Sonal is the co-founder of Fittr, and she has a vision to make over 50 million people fit. And as I just mentioned, she was Miss Asia Universe. So, Sonal, let's start talking about Fittr. My first and very basic question is, what is the meaning of fitness? It's obviously it means different thing to different people.
Right. So to me, fitness is really about having a healthy, and active lifestyle. And fitness is also about being healthy physically and mentally. So I think that's what encompasses fitness for me.
Okay. And what led you to start Fittr?
Right. So I think that the story is similar for myself and my co-founders. I think all of us had a inclination towards wanting to be fit, towards understanding, why is it so difficult to get fit and then stay fit? And then once we kind of cracked that code, so to speak, realized that it's not difficult, it is easy, and this message needs to be spread across the world. And we need to kind of demystify fitness and make it accessible and easy for everyone.
And what are the scope of activities you have at Fittr?
So at Fittr, it's a completely freemium platform. So all the education and content is completely free of cost. And again, that ties back into our mission to make 50 million people fit and make it easy and democratize fitness for everyone. And then when it comes to actually wanting personalized guidance, which a lot of people opt for, you then pay a coach who offers you one-on-one assistance. And we have over 600 coaches in our platform, and they've all been certified and trained through our own e-learning academy to ensure, the standardization of supply as well as quality, of course, so that they're following the scientific methodology that we adhere to and prescribe.
Okay. And, Sonal, there have been so many companies that have now come up in the fitness space. My question to you is, how are you different?
So firstly, Ashutosh, I would just want to say that I'm really happy that so many companies are entering this space.
Yep.
That means the market is big and people are getting more and more aware about how important it is to be fit. So that's really great. I think what makes Fittr different is that from day one, we've been community led, and our focus actually has always been on how do we serve the community's needs to the best of our ability. We have a community strength of over 3 million users, and until very recently, all our growth was completely organic. It was through word of mouth. That's actually how I even heard about the Facebook group initially, was through someone who had lost, 15 kgs, and she kept raving and raving about it. And that's kind of how I found out about this little fitness group, and then obviously joined. So I think that's our story has been really unique. And I think our perspective is really different in that we are looking at how to put the community first and how to help people educate themselves and also empower themselves. So we are not trying to create a dependency on us. Actually, it's the exact opposite. We want our customers or users to walk away feeling like they can take this journey on their own and they don't need to pay for it. It's completely possible with the education they've received.
Fascinating. So, over the last 15 odd years, and I'm much older, there's a far greater amount of consciousness on fitness that is now in our country. How does one determine what is my right fitness level?
Right. So I think that's a really interesting question. Of course, I think it's objective and subjective. Objective, of course, is more medically inclined. So are you suffering from any lifestyle related disorders? Can you function on a daily basis without, let's say, losing your breath, doing basic things? And then I think there's the other aspect, which is subjective, which is how do I feel, right? How do I feel both physically and mentally? So I think that it's really important to look at both dimensions, because someone might appear to be fit, but if they're not feeling energetic, if they're not able to sleep at night, then there's definitely an issue. And the converse is true, of course. So I think that it's a much more holistic problem, and it needs to be looked at in that and solved in that dimension.
But continuing with the same question, I meet a lot of 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds who can't accept the fact that their body is not functioning as it did when they were 21, and they push themselves and then they have health challenges.
Yes.
How do people reconcile to the aging body?
So I think that, again, a very good question. I think as cliche as it sounds, age is just a number. I think that the more you spend on maintaining your body, and by spend, I mean time, the more you're conscious about what you're putting into your body, how you're treating your body at a younger age and throughout the age, you'll see that you might be aging slightly differently from, say, your colleagues who are maybe not giving so much attention to those aspects. So I think that, yes, I agree with you. There's biology and there's the function of time, but I think that we have more in our control than we would perhaps like to admit. It's just about being consistent, and it's about following, simple, very, very simple guidelines on what to eat, how much to eat. I think that is more important. And other aspects, like, of course, making sure you're drinking enough water, you're taking vitamins, etc. And you have more control over your health in that aspect. And you can maybe even reverse aging to an extent.
Well said. So, when I was reading about you, I've read that you are focused more on South Asian women. What are some of the unique fitness challenges for this segment?
Yes. So, I moved to India in 2014. But of course, I am Indian. I grew up in a very Indian household, albeit it being in Canada. And one thing I've always observed growing up is, my mom has always been my hero, and she's really been my inspiration throughout my life. But one thing I always noticed was that she was constantly putting everyone else before her own self, which of course is, admirable, and you love your moms for that. But she was never taking time out for herself when it came to health, or even just taking that 15-20 minutes out a day to do the things that she really wanted to do. And that, unfortunately, is something that is quite common and widespread especially amongst South Asian women, I've observed, in the objective of trying to take care of everyone's needs and take care of the house, as well as work. Own needs get slightly neglected. So I think that's an area where Fittr and myself, we've been making a lot of we've been attempting to create a lot of awareness in terms of ensuring that women put their needs, above, and prioritize themselves, so that they can take time out to focus on their health, because it's of the utmost importance, obviously, for everyone. But then, just from my perspective, growing up, I think that's something that I kind of internalized a little bit, seeing, my mom working like crazy, not having that balanced lifestyle, and then that mindset gets kind of fixed that that's how you're supposed to be. So if the woman of the household actually takes out that time, it sets an example for everyone, actually, that health is a priority for everyone. So I think that's kind of where it started from. And then, of course, within our community, we hear so many stories of women who've struggled with the same, gained a lot of weight, and then weren't able to manage because of lack of time or perhaps support. And it's really about creating a lifestyle that is sustainable and suitable for anyone, regardless of how busy they are. But that first step is, acknowledging that you do need to focus on your health, and you need to make it a priority which is what we are all about.
Well said. And you spoke about the need for eating well. You spoke about the need for exercising.
Yes.
What are some of the fitness and nutrition challenges people face
Mm.
in South Asia? And I'm just focusing on South Asia because we just spoke of South Asia.
Yeah, sure. I think that generally there's a lot of myths about fitness,
Mhm.
about what you should be eating. There's a lot of fads. And I think that the issue is that the market is also really fragmented. There's a lot of distrust because you go to one person and they tell you one thing, like, for example, don't eat carbs after 6 p.m.
Mhm.
And then you go to another person who says, no, you have to do intermittent fasting. You should only eat between this window and that window.
Mhm.
And people, like my mom always said, that little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Absolutely.
So if you pick up tidbits here and there, and then you make a khichdi of what you think your fitness and health regime should be, you're actually doing more damage to yourself. And what we advocate is that it's really just simple. It's basic stuff. It's more about how much you eat,
Mhm.
not so much what you're eating. Of course, that plays a role. But from the very first start, just think about how much you're actually eating, how much your body really needs on a daily basis, and how much are you consuming. So one of the activities that our coaches do is when a client enrolls with them, they actually tell them to send photos of what they eat on a normal basis for a week. And once you even start doing that, you become more conscious of how much you're actually eating, right? Because you realize, oh, okay, I'm eating again. It's just been half an hour.
Mhm.
And again, I'm taking a photo. So these little mindfulness and awareness exercises go a long way in helping you realize as an individual what you're putting in your body, not only what, but how much you're putting into your body. So I think that in South Asia specifically, we have a real culture of eating a lot,
Mhm.
because it's around it's a way of showing love, right? You go to someone's house, they want you to feel welcome, they want you to eat. But I think there are better ways of showing love. And there's a lot of cultural issues around that, I understand, but it's just one would be there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of myths. Second would be culturally it's a very kind of uh, foodie culture. And then I think lastly, in the Indian diet generally, especially if you're vegetarian, a lot of people might miss out on the adequate levels of protein. And that's not to say that it doesn't exist. Of course it is, but it's just about educating oneself, getting that information, and realizing that you need to have a sufficient amount of protein for your body.
No, you picked up a very interesting point. Every time we used to come back, we used to live outside India for a long time, and
Yeah.
if you visited four relatives in a day, uh, you had to overeat, and if you didn't eat, then they said, then wasn't the food very good?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guilt associated with not eating also.
Yes, it's a tricky situation to be in. I understand.
I agree with you. So let's talk a little bit about how people have coped in the pandemic. I mean, some people have put on a lot of weight, some people have kept themselves incredibly fit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Right. So I think, of course, the pandemic has just turned everything upside down for
Mm.
for all of us. But one of the silver linings is that everyone has realized, or I hope they've realized,
Mm.
the importance of health, and keeping themselves fit, both mentally and physically, I would
Right,
say.
right.
So as you've said, we've seen, at least on our platform, initially a huge upsurge in terms of the traffic that was coming to our app. So our app, as well as our social media platforms, we saw a huge spike in activity. Um, and then, a few months later, that translated into, of course, increase in subscriptions and enrollments. And I think that for us, we've always been an online fitness platform. So we're really happy that more people are now gravitating towards online fitness, because for us, it's always been about spreading the message that you can get fit. Anyone can get fit from anywhere, and that includes from your home, right? So there's not a requirement to invest in like huge fancy equipment or get a very expensive annual gym membership if it's not within your budget. There's so many things around the house that you can use to actually start and continue your fitness journey. So I think that's been a key realization for a lot of people, which we're excited about, obviously. And I think the other major outcome that we've observed is that a lot more women are actually starting to work out or continue to work out during the pandemic because, again, everyone has saved a bit of time in terms of traveling. And then now with the increased interest in online fitness options, people are realizing that, hey, you know, this actually works. It's not some gimmick, and you can get results working out by yourself. And when I say by yourself, I mean, you know, at home. Of course, you can get the assistance of a coach through the app. And it's still possible to include in the routine as well as get results from it. So we've actually seen that within our personal training services, the majority of the users have been women, firstly, and secondly, have been users outside of India. So the NRI female community has really taken to this.
So, Sonal, one other question that I wanted to ask you was the whole subject of supplements. You know, there is a lot of contradictory views that you get. Some people say you must take supplements, and some people say, if I'm eating right, why do I need supplements? I'd love to get your thoughts.
So again, Ashutosh, for us, it's really about underlining the key message that it's possible to get fit for anyone, anywhere, and regardless of, you know, what their income bracket is, what access they have to food and availability. So if you're someone who doesn't want to take supplements, you just need to be extra careful to ensure that you're getting the right nutrients and micronutrients in your food. And if you're able to spend that time and energy in ensuring your food is cooked, you know, according to those standards, with all of those ingredients, then that's totally fine. Okay. Of course, if you're someone who's on the go, who's busy, and might not be able to ensure that, you know, you're able to consume X grams of cooked protein, then it might be easier for you to pick up a protein shake, for example. And that's something that we are, you know, we totally are okay with as a platform. What we're not okay with, and we've expressed this several times, is that you need supplements in order to get fit. You don't. You definitely don't. It's just about convenience, and of course you have to be careful about the brand, etc., that you choose, and make sure that you're, you know, it suits your body. But it's not a necessity. Definitely not.
So what you're telling me is that I don't need to buy those 5 kilo powders just because I want to put on weight or get fitter.
No, not at all. It's completely 100% possible by, you know, just fine tuning your diet. Okay. And even within your diet, it's based on what you like eating and what's available in your house. So if we're advising a South Indian client, we would not start giving him chapati. We would say, stick to your rice. You know, we just need to quantify it, make sure you're getting the adequate amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have time for two more questions. I want to talk to you about yoga. I mean, you know, everyone's talking yoga now. How important is yoga as a part of our daily fitness regime?
So, Ashutosh, I think it really depends on person to person. I personally do really like yoga. I incorporate it in my daily fitness regime. It's worked wonders for my back. But, you know, if it's something you don't like doing, I wouldn't say do it just because. The key focus here is consistency. Is finding a regime that works for you, that you enjoy doing, and that you're going to do every day or almost every day. So if yoga is part of that regime, all for it. If you absolutely hate yoga, which I know many people do, then I would not force it on anyone. Okay. Do what you like doing, as long as you're focusing at least a little bit on strengthening those muscles.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
One more question related to fitness, and then a couple of questions for you personally. Based on your experience, how have you seen the difference between millennials and Gen Zs taking up fitness versus the older communities?
That's an interesting question. I think that just like with most other things, the older folks might be more reluctant initially, at least, to subscribe to online platforms that prescribe fitness, and the kind of younger folks or millennials would be more keen on using online platforms. But I think, like we've already discussed, during the pandemic, there's been a huge behavioral shift. So you see a lot of elderly folks now beginning to use those same apps, which they swore they would never use, like the grocery deliver apps and the milk ordering apps, etc. So I think that there's a huge shift that we're seeing across all age groups in the last year in terms of them embracing technology and realizing the amazing wonders that technology can have in terms of helping you with your daily activities. So I think that's a trend that we've definitely observed.
Terrific. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'm going to come back to Miss Asia Universe. Tell me about how you won this and what did it do for you?
So I think that for me, it happened slightly accidentally in that, I was approached by the director of the program and asked to participate. But at the same time, I thought it was a wonderful opportunity to actually take some time out. It was anyways between projects. And I thought, this is a great opportunity for me to focus on other aspects of life, like getting super fit, because now there's a very specific target deadline, and then work on other areas as well. And it was a really enriching experience because I got to meet so many women from all over the world who were extremely accomplished and running companies, or lawyers or doctors, just extremely professional and hardworking women who had all taken out some time to focus on this and just take it for what it was, which was an amazing, experience to meet other women, as well as just, do something fun and focus on other aspects of your personality. And also, the platform had a very important cause, which was around domestic violence. So I thought it was a really great opportunity to create awareness around that, and also learn for myself around what is it that we can do, and what actually the issues are, the systemic issues in that space.
Very interesting. Sonal, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for talking to me about so many things about fitness and about your journey as Miss Asia Universe. And good luck in reaching your target of 50 million fit people. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.